Tom Stafford reports they are go for a mission to the moon at this time. 10, 9. We have ignition sequence start. 5, 4, 3, 2. All engines running. Launch commit. Liftoff. We have liftoff 49 minutes past the hour.
A true hero is someone like Tom Stafford.
He was an average kid, ornery, but brilliant.
Tom was a focused guy from day one.
He was just a hands-on pilot's pilot and instructor's instructor.
125, 150%. That's Tom all the way.
And Tom was a visionary, and Tom was a dreamer, and he saw things that would make a difference.
One of the most trusted Americans by the Russian space program.
I don't know that we would have had the B-2 bomber and the stealth technology had not Tom been pushing it at that time.
When you want to get a job done, Tom Stafford is the go-to guy.
A great American hero.
To properly understand General Stafford's makeup, you would have to go back to his ancestors. And that brings us to Tom Stafford's mother, who came to Oklahoma in a covered wagon. His mother was a teacher, grew up on the prairie of western Oklahoma. General Stafford's father was a dentist, came from the east, established his practice in western Oklahoma. You combine both mother and father, and the talent, the intelligence, and the courage, the pioneer spirit, that all came out in their son.
He was an average type kid, ornery, but brilliant.
Every afternoon as a little boy, 4 or 5 years old, I'd watch what I thought was a giant silver bird flying over, and that was a DC-3, and I'd look at it and look at it, and I said, I want to do that.
I believe that this nation should commit itself to achieving the goal before this decade is out of landing a man on the moon and returning him safely to the earth.
When President Kennedy gave his speech about the goal of going to the moon, that was only 3 weeks after Al Shepard had flown about 200 miles downrange and Yuri Gagarin had been in orbit. I said, that's what I want to do. Now that is a challenge. That is how to go higher. That is how to go faster. After several years as an instructor at the test pilot school, I needed to go to a new assignment. So I applied and got one of the 3 Air Force slots at Harvard University Graduate School of Business Administration. Also, I was in the finals for the second group of astronauts. So I started Harvard Business School. I was there for 3 days, and the neighbor came over and said, there's a call from you from Big Slate. So I got a call and he says, you're still interested in coming on the program, quitting Harvard? And I said, absolutely. And that would happen to be my birthday, so it was a great birthday present.
Tom obviously was a standout in the group because he had more of a technical background and his mind was full of figures and formulas, and that just almost became his trademark, I think. He really was an expert on everything he touched.
Tom, to me, was the mathematical slide rule that I needed. And he did all the mathematical work, and of course I did all the close-up flying work. And we worked this out very carefully, and we became a very tightly bonded team.
It was going to be the first docking with an Agena spacecraft.
So there was a lot of pressure on Schirra and I to get that rendezvous done. If it proved out very difficult, then it could have a major, major impact on the program.
We first saw them looking down and they were coming straight up. It was nighttime when the rendezvous started to come up, and we could see their jets firing to get into the final phase to slow down.
Then we went on and we did the first rendezvous, and then we flew around, sometimes within a couple of feet of them. Said, what happens if the computer fails? What happens if the platform fails? What happens if the radar fails? So we'd worked out a series of nomographs and charts of what would happen. And we had our own calculations how we could get in there.
Tom was very impressive to us because he was able to, through these carpet plots, to come up with the ideas of how he could, on board with a slide rule, figure out the maneuvers. And as we told him what the maneuvers we computed from the ground were, with our new computer programs on the ground, he would say, hey, you're right. Tom Stafford on Gemini 6 made his reputation. He became known as an engineering astronaut and a thinking astronaut because he understood the orbital mechanics very clearly. And that was, I think, where he got the reputation he has today of being an outstanding astronaut, an outstanding manager, and an outstanding thinker. So I think the Gemini program sort of made Tom Stafford.